everybody. Welcome back to Near Mint Condition, a channel where you can be part of an honest and positive community. I am Dom of X, and we are going to be talking about everything, all things indie for this round of comic solicitations. But before that, I do have a panel here, and I would like them to introduce themselves. To this fella, who are you?
I'm Dan from Comics with Dan. And I hang with Dom and Joe frequently on League of Comic Geeks as well. So excited to be back from last month.
Heck yes, and you can find Dan. Thank you, Mr. James Abel, for being the epic producer as per always. You can find him there. To the bottom, who are you, my friend?
Which one, me?
We're going in a Z, I think.
I'll go. I'm Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics. I do all the social media work for Near Mint Condition. So anytime you see someone posting or talking about Near Mint Condition on social media, it's me. Also, real quickly, just want to plug my channel, Taylor Talks Comics. Starting tomorrow, there'll be 31 days of October of horror comic reads. So if you're into horror comics, you want to subscribe to my channel because there'll be 31 days of recommendations or videos about horror comics and that sort of thing. So be sure to do that.
Oh, for sure. I see you even decorated your background
Yes.
with the spookiness.
I'm ready to go. Tomorrow it starts Spooktober.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't believe it's already October. We're almost done with the year, which is insane. And of course, you can find Taylor on his Discord as well. Thank you to James. And whenever Joe gets back in, we will let him introduce himself. I think he's running off with some technical difficulties, but we will try to get that all fixed and sorted out. But like I said, today we are going to talk about all of the independent comic solicitations. We got stuff in from Titan. They've put in stuff once again. I did take out Omar. I did. He and it's funny. It was funny, Josh, because we were talking in. I think we were like in a meeting, and I told him like, "Hey, this is like whatever the runtime is on Monday," and he said, "Hey, you're free to do this show, without me, and like you're in charge of it and all that stuff." And I was like, "You know what? This is the perfect time to start my ascent to the top of the castle and become the new owner of Near Mint Condition." So.
You know what you should do? You should start talking about single issues.
Ooh, I like that. Single issues and on the channel of the home of collected editions. I like that idea.
I think Melanie would probably join in with you, so you could even have her.
Oh yeah, that's right, huh? Because she does single issue reviews. Maybe we could upend this. Maybe us four can like start a weekly. Start a weekly show where it eventually just becomes us doing stuff on the channel. We then saturate out Omar. We win from that side, and we take over the channel.
Yeah, we got to do it at like 2 a.m. and we can title the stream "Omar's Asleep. Let's talk about single issues."
Let's start a coup. Indeed, I like that. Get the viewership into because we already have an established audience. And we can make it all work.
And you know what? There. Instead of like, you know how like Anonymous has the V for Vendetta mask, the Guy Fawkes mask, we can do Alf masks for our takeover. The thing that Omar hates the most.
You know, I could see Dynamite doing an Alf omnibus someday if they get the rights to the character, have it paired up with Marvel or something like that, have it co-published.
I never read the Elf run. I don't know if anybody knows. I know we're joking, but are there any crossover? Are there Marvel characters that appear in that run? Because if not, then it could just be outright published by whoever has the rights.
That's a good question. I have no idea. You could call it an Elf and Marvel Friends omnibus if you want.
Yeah,
that seems like a Dynamite thing to do, though, is to publish something with that kind of IP. You know.
Definitely nowadays that they're really diving into the 80s cartoons and things, so might as well throw an Alf too.
Might as well throw in Alf as well. I mean, why not? I mean, we already have so many omnibuses of so many different things. I mean, we got New Warriors 3 not too long ago. So yeah, if Marvel misprints anything now, Dom is the one to blame.
Oh no, Omar will pass that along for sure. That sort of aspect to the job, he'll definitely pass on to someone else.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's also something I've been dealing with since I found out what Reddit was back in 2016. So I think it's just part of the job, honestly.
Very unfortunate part of the job, but
you have to take the brunt. I mean, sometimes you have to deal with this stuff as someone like spokesperson. It happens all the time, but yeah, I will gladly take the blame. That was on me, folks. Do not give it. Don't pass to Omar. It was 100% my fault. You could call it coup against Omar. He won't. I could change it right now, Josh. Like if I wanted to. How are you doing, Matt? Good morning. And Josh says, I don't think so. Marvel just used to publish things like Ren and Stimpy.
They did. That's where Dan Slott got his start in writing comics.
That is true. Where is the line? Can I play? I don't have. I'm not Weather Wizard, so I don't know about all that there. And Dom, thanks for all the DC Finest updates on my. Hey, I have stuff planned for Near Mint Condition with DC Finest too, so be on the lookout for that as well. So yes, we are still trying to get Joe in the fix, and I think in 2 minutes we'll start with Titan and run our way from there. Joe, if you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thought it was kind of a small week or small month for solicits, for indie solicits, but there's a lot of good stuff coming out.
There is.
For sure. Yeah.
I think the thing that I've noticed, like DC has this and Marvel has this, where they'll have like 1 or 2 lull months, like the period right after Christmas time when people stop buying stuff. Because we all spend our money and during the holidays with our family and hey, there it is, Joe. If your mic is working and all that, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hopefully, there was no more. Like I moved it closer to the window. I'm back in university halls accommodation, so obviously the Wi-Fi is not the best. But it's I had it on my desk. I don't know if it was something blocking it. Hopefully, by the window, it might be a bit better.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. You're good, dude. Hello, YP.
But Joe, we're waiting for you to introduce yourself to the audience.
So I am Joe Talks Comics, the podcast where I talk to friends about the comics that we've been reading and enjoying lately. And you can find me on Instagram at Joe Loves Comics, on Twitter at Joe Talks Comics. And it's timed well this month because last month I started my own podcast series about my top 5 picks from Solicitations, just like single issues and everything. And so my latest episode for that, for the December Solicits, is out on Wednesday. So it's nicely timed there.
Awesome. Of course, you can find Joe on Twitter and the Instagrams and all of that. James has linked it in the description for all of us. All right, let's go ahead and run through the solicitations and see where that heads us out and all. All right, let's see if I can zoom in. So this is the Titan solicitations for the month of December 2024. Again, all of these are December 2024 and onwards for the next pre-order month product. And the first that we have here is the Savage Sword of Conan, the original comics omnibus, volume 5, by Michael Fisher, Roy Thomas, Bruce Jones, with art by John Buscema. This is $125, 768 pages, 100 and all that, coming out on the 25th of the 2nd of April of next year.
So I haven't looked through the solicits volumes. I'm assuming volumes 2 through 4 will come out before then as well.
We hope so.
Okay. That just seems like a. I mean, I know there was a delay and everything. Everybody knows that, but it seems like they're pumping them out pretty rapidly then.
Oh, they are. I think the main issue with these is production and pushback as far as release dates are, because every single week there's been a delay on at least 2 omnibuses of Conan.
So it seems like they're catching up then, which is nice.
Or we hope, anyways. But yeah, we do know they exist though. Omar and Jess both did videos, which is better than not having.
Yes, they're real.
The omnibuses exist. So yeah, 2 came out, or 2 are going to come out in the next couple of weeks. Previews has the wrong release date for the first 2 omnibuses of Conan, for Savage and just regular Conan, which are coming out the 1st and the 8th of October respectively. But this is what we're dealing with as far as that's concerned.
See, I've never read Savage Sword before. Are these issues longer page counts? Because I'm just like doing the math here on the page count and the number of issues.
Right, these were like magazines that were like on the magazine rack, so they were just single issue comics.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say, I mean, because at first I first looked at the issue count and I'm like 12 issues for $125.
Right. Yeah.
You look at the page count, that's pretty reasonable.
No, it's similar to, like, if you're familiar with like Creepy and Eerie magazine, like those Warren mags back in the day, like it was all in that same trend of magazine comics.
Right.
I don't know what the page count on the single magazine issues though. I want to say they're like close to 60 pages maybe per.
Yeah, just doing the math on this, it's 64, but there might be extra stuff in here. But
yeah,
if
64,
768,
that sounds about right.
64 sounds right, because it's got to be divisible by 8 for that signature, right?
Of course, this is the direct market or regular market cover on the left and the cover on the right. And Dom is also to blame for the current variety. You know what? As someone who is or who does know people who have Verizon, I will say that it's very weird not getting texts from people that I usually expect from. So who knows?
I hadn't heard about that. But here's a little part of this blurb on this book, though. We're looking at deadly tiger riding women warriors. I mean, sold, right? Like, who doesn't want to read about that?
Yeah, that does sound fun. It seems like a book Josh loves.
Josh Greathouse?
Josh Greathouse, yeah.
Oh, definitely. I think he's I don't know. I can't remember. I know he was excited about the new releases by Titan, but I don't know if he has any of the Conan from the Marvel printings or not. But I know he's definitely on board for these.
Oh, for sure.
I know Dom saw that I recently read the Savage Avengers omnibus. It was basically my first like proper exposure to Conan outside of just cultural osmosis, so that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun too with that Savage Avengers run by Duggan Diodato. Yeah, that was a fun run. And this is as someone who's like not really big into Conan, but we had the omnibus on sale at our local comic shop for $50, and I was like, yeah, this is steal. I'll buy it.
I love any type of ragtag, like thrown together team in like superhero comics. So I'm all like, anytime you throw like these random heroes together, they don't seem like they really belong. Like the champions and like the defenders, like those are some of my favorite teams back in the day. So the whole concept I was on board for right away.
Oh, for sure. But yes, so that is what we do have for the hardcovers. And that's all we have for Titan, actually. No trade paperbacks this week, or this month, I should say. All right, let's go ahead and look at IDW and see what they've got cooking there. For the single issues, the Naruto and TMNT crossover is being published in December, so be on the lookout for that as well. Single issue readers.
I mean, TMNT is crossed over with everything at this point, right?
Yeah, and Jorge Jimenez has drawn the covers too for that. I was just like, maybe I should pick it up.
I mean, that's a really cool thing, but the fact that like obviously manga is humongous market, but we haven't really seen the characters from manga crossover. We've seen some of the creators at times, but like this is kind of a wild idea. But I wonder if it'll start a trend.
Oh, for sure. I want to answer a quick question. Do we have a bigger insight as to why a lot of people aren't entirely on board with the reprint of Volume 1? Is it like besides release date shenanigans?
Was there an issue?
I don't believe there. Like from what I know about the Omni. Not to
Are
my
we talking
knowledge.
about the Marvel years or Savage?
Savage?
I don't know that I heard any issues with that.
Yeah,
I think
I
there was
haven't.
content. I think there's less content
Mhm.
in the Savage Volume 1 than there is in the Marvel version.
Mhm.
I think from watching Omar's video, I think there was, and don't go watch Omar's video, don't quote me on this, but I think there were certain stories in the Savage Sword of Conan magazines that they didn't put into the Titan version for whatever reason.
I believe you're right.
Because I think there's like 100 or 200 less pages or something. Go watch Omar's video though before you quote me, anybody watching the show. But he definitely goes over the differences between both printings if you have a question on that.
Oh, yeah. They didn't include some of the Marvel stuff like Kazar and Man
Oh,
Thing,
okay.
which would make sense.
There we go. That's the answer then.
Hey, thank you, Josh. And well, yeah, YP. I dove into Conan with the current Zub run. It's fantastic. Hope it gets into an OHC later. Yeah, me too.
I think it will. That run's been getting rave reviews. I'm sure it's pretty big for Titan right now.
It is. So big into Conan. But the only hardcover that we do have for IDW is Star Trek Defiant Volume 3. Hell is Only a Word by Christopher Cantwell and Angel Unzueta. 136 pages, $24.99. This is a standard size hardcover, but this does collect issues 12 through 16 of Star Trek Defiant.
Ventures into the sci-fi horror genre. That sounds super interesting.
Ooh.
I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. I dabble in Star Trek here and there, but mixing Star Trek with sci-fi horror sounds pretty awesome.
It does. Right, trade paperbacks. The first we have is Golgotha Motor Mountain by Matthew Ehrman and Lonnie Nadler, as well as one of the creators of Spider-Gwen, Robbie Rodriguez. This is $23.99, 144 pages, and it is an original graphic novel. There is the cover blown up for all of you guys wondering.
That looks awesome. And again,
reminds me of Borderlands.
Yeah, I keep talking about my love of good elevator pitches, and it says, well, if you take the image down, I can't read it now. Sorry. There we go. Meet the Damage Brothers, meth cookers by trade, mutant killing road warriors by necessity in this graphic novel thriller.
It sounds exactly like
Borderlands. Oh, and it takes place in Kentucky, where our faithful
But is
leaders.
it tiger riding lady warriors?
Mix in that with this, and you've got a comic. Meth cooking mutant killer road warriors versus tiger riding lady warriors.
That's a hell of a battle. There's some solid creators as well on this, so it should be fun.
Yeah, that sounds
I
awesome.
like what I've read of Nadler's. This looks interesting. So that is all we have for that. Next up, we got Surf Side Girls, The Clue in the Reef by Kim Dwinell, which is apparently now going to be on Apple TV. This is another original graphic novel coming out on the 10th of December at $19.99, 256 pages. Small trim size.
Yeah, it looks like to be digest size.
256
pages, though.
Yeah,
pretty nice value for original graphic novel. Very much like the DC Inc. or DC adult novels, or graphic novels, I should say, that they have.
Yeah, it's definitely in that same demographic as well. You can tell just by the subject matter. Maybe like in the same Raina Telgemeier kind of demographic as well, that YA stuff.
So yeah, not a big month for IDW, but we do have 2 graphic novels if you guys are interested, as well as a Star Trek book. Robbie Rodriguez is back as he is no longer blind. I think he did the Batgirl Joker War tie-in issues a couple years back.
Okay.
Is this also like I don't know if we have confirmation? Does it say this is a brand new work too? This could be like an older comic that was like being reprinted.
It should be brand new.
Okay.
So yeah, 3 years removed, but he is
Well,
back.
good for him.
Right. Next up, we got Dark Horse. And the first thing we got is a Critical Role hardcover, The Chronicles of Exandria, the Mighty Nine, Part 2. 304 pages, $49.99. And clocking in over, this documents the adventures and revelations in Exandria, Part 2. And then, if you guys want, there is a deluxe edition that is $149.99 for the same amount of pages and collects a whole lot of more in a nice box set.
Wow.
I'm not familiar with this. Are these actual comics, or is this like based on an RPG, or is it just an RPG?
It should be. Let's see.
Because that extra stuff that comes with it looks like it comes with like stuff to play an RPG game.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah, you got a
I think
clamshell.
it might be something to do with D&D. I'm not entirely sure though, but
right, it's definitely in that
yeah,
wheelhouse. But I didn't know if this was like a comics based on that kind of lore, or is it?
yeah, maybe.
Go back up to Solicit. Just the book itself. Does it say?
So yeah, from the Smash It campaign, Saga continues in the second collection of art, narrative, and lore from the cast, A Critical Role, as well as the creator community. Chronicles of Exandria follows the campaign from their adventures in Zorus to encounters with the Kryn and the Bright Queen.
Oh, it says right. Sorry, I didn't mean to. But it says right there, collection of art, narrative, and lore from the cast.
So yeah, comics are based off of the lore from the game. Show is also based off of this. Thank you, Josh.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
So there you go. So yeah, $149.99 for all the extra goodies, and if you just want the book, it is just $49.99. Next, we got Richard Corbin's Den, Volume 5, The Price of Memories. And this is 120 pages, $39.99, but it is in that 8x11 format.
And this is the final volume of Din.
Mm-hmm.
These are beautiful books. I don't know if you guys have them or not. So it'll be 5 volumes of Din, and then they just announced the next volume of the Richard Corbin Library, which is a new line of books that Dark Horse is doing with Jose Villarrubia. It's doing all the restoration on them, which, if you don't know, Jose Villarrubia is like stringent. He even writes essays on it on his Facebook about how he is about making colors like faithful to the original comics. He's the one that did the restoration on the Bernie Wrightson Swamp Thing Absolute. So these are beautiful, beautiful collections. They're a little bit on the slimmer side, and $40 for 120 pages. But it is oversized, and Richard Corbin is an absolute master at comic book art. So these are really, really good. They are for mature readers, as you see there. So beware there. But if you're not familiar, anybody that doesn't know what Den is, that you might be familiar with him from he was in Heavy Metal Magazine. These were originally serialized in Heavy Metal Magazine, but also in the Heavy Metal movie. There's a bit of the Din character in that. If anybody remembers that from back in the day.
Interesting stuff. And do you have the previous 4 volumes, Taylor?
I have the first volume, and then I have the second and third volume on the way. 4th volume hasn't come out yet. Oh, do you want to see them? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. So here's the first volume, and has like the gold foil on it. The first release of the Richard Corbin Library was Murky World. So this is like the first release, and it's like, so they're kind of, they're like on the slimmer side. That's backwards. They look great on the shelf together.
Oh yeah.
And Din, I'll be careful on this one because there is a lot of. I honestly don't even know what I can show here. Oh, here we go.
Try not to get demonetized challenge.
I know I'm trying to. So there's some of the artwork.
Oh, that's nice.
That's pretty
By
fun.
Richard
Yeah,
Corbin.
that's cool.
Let me see if I can find one more page. There's lots of it's like about a bunch of warriors and battles. So if you're into like, okay, I'm gonna be careful on this one. Conan and things, you'll like this. But a lot of the warriors and human beings in this world don't wear clothes. So I'll be forewarned there. But really, really great stuff.
Good stuff for that. Those books do look incredibly well made, I will say.
They are.
Yeah, next one should have a lot of people jumping up for joy. ElfQuest, the original quest, book 1, Fire and Flight, is coming out on the 25th of February, $29.99, 200 pages, and this collects the first 5 issues of ElfQuest.
Have any of you read ElfQuest?
Mm.
No.
No, we talked a bit about ElfQuest last month because they came out with it was a much later volume. But
yeah, neither have I, and I've always they've released them in collections before. I probably just need to pick one up. But these are these a full color? Yeah, these are full color. So the issue here is that they're only releasing issues 1 through 5 in this volume, 200 pages. I can't imagine. I don't know how many issues it lasted, but I really think it's going to be like a 20, 30 volume collection when it's all said and done. Yeah. Like they've gone on for like 40 years at this point. So the decision to only do 5 issues per volume, I feel like is interesting. Obviously we know like as volumes go on, there is a dwindling in sales.
Massive drop off in sales. Like
right.
Once you past like anything past 10, 12, because not everyone who was there for volume 1 is going to be there for volume 15.
Unless like we do see a difference in that mentality with manga. Obviously, there's people still buying like volume 100 of One Piece and things, which I'm sure that volume 1 still sold like way more than the rest of them. But there's still a commitment there that people have committed for the long haul. I don't know if maybe in 2024 the audience is a little bit different with wanting to commit to things. Who knows? But in $30 isn't, your different sponsors and things that we have on the channel, we probably get it for like $20, 21, I don't know, but it just seems like quite the interesting choice to only do 5 issues per volume.
Well, especially with like Epic Collections and now DC Finest and those sorts of collections and like nice thick paperbacks, it makes you think for sure.
And I can only imagine it's because they're coloring them now. I assume that they're coloring for the first time, right? Yeah. So they have done thick collections in black and white previously. So I don't know if like the coloring process is they want to make sure they can like stay on a schedule or what.
Oh, for sure. Comics were magazine style in the beginning, which is also true specifically about this. And there is also the fact that it is free to read on their website. And there is also an ElfQuest animated series in production. We know how weird production tends to be around those things anyways, but when have they been published by Marvel and DC, Josh?
Oh, that's right. Marvel had the license for a bit with the Epic line, like the original Epic magazine line. And when I say license, Richard and Wendy Pini still own the property, but they were being printed through Epic. I don't know how long that lasted. And then their history with DC, I have no idea about. But I do know with Marvel, it was with the Epic line.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with their DC stuff. That's the first time I'm hearing about it. More you learn. Next up, we got Guilt Frame by Matt and Margie Kent. This is 212 pages for $29.99. Standard size hardcover, collecting these 3 issues. I guess I do find it weird because of the different flux sizes that we had with Only Find Us When You're Dead by Matt Kent, which should be coming out this month or last month, I should say. And then you had that as a library-ish size, and now we're trimming it to regular standard size.
Well, yeah, so this is Matt Kent's Flux House imprint for Dark Horse, like you said. But I think Matt Kent's of the same kind of mentality of like a Fantagraphics art house drawn in quarterly mentality, rather than have everything the exact same trim size. He wants like the trim size to fit the comic specifically. And if you're familiar with Matt Kent's work, like his stuff's all been, I mean, I guess relatively the same. I don't know, because I guess they are. He always has different trim sizes for his things, but now I think he's getting into like book design and trying to do things differently. So I wouldn't be surprised if all his books are kind of different. I would not expect the Flux House line to all be similar. But also, this is interesting because this is written by his mom. So Margie Kraft Kent is his mother, and they've been like touring together at book signings and stuff, which is amazing. And Matt's just been having a blast talking about it on social media how much fun it is to go to signings with his mom.
Yeah, they did an AMA on League of Comic Geeks together. That was fun.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool.
Kent's great, though. He's one of my favorite creators
together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I listened to an interview with both of them, which was really interesting as well to see that unique perspective.
Matt's I listen to anything Matt talks about because he seems like such a humble dude, but also has like such a he just wants to make fun comics. Like that's all his goal is to make fun comics and constantly experiment with what you can do with comics. So, I mean, he's been doing like a lot of stuff with Bad Idea, which I know that's like super experimental and usually rubs people the wrong way anyways, but he does things like that. And he's released, I think he was like the first on the bandwagon of what were those things called? The I'm drawing a blank now. The digital release that's like a one of one kind of thing that people, not FTEs, what are they called?
They're not NFTs, are they? You're not talking about.
What are they? The whatever the technology is, where like people make a digital image that's like one of one, and it's like people spend a lot of money on it. Like he did a comic book like that.
Like NFT.
Yeah, NFT. Thank you. Jeez, I felt like an idiot. NFT. He like released a comic book as like an NFT, which is like he's like the first, like whenever NFTs were like brand new, he did it. But he even also encouraged like whoever owns it can do whatever they want with the comic. They can release it to the masses that they want, which I think they did. So he's always experimenting with things, which is cool.
Sure. Yeah, this is well, once again another Kent production with his mother. I'll go ahead and check all that out. Next up, we got Helen of Windhorn by Tom King and illustrated by Bilquis Evely and colored by Mateus Lopez, collecting the 6-issue series. And yeah, this was the same creative team on Superman or Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. We're now doing a Dark Horse book.
This book has been just gorgeous. I think Bilquis Evely's probably one of the best artists out there. I mean, I really liked her art in Supergirl, and she did some Detective Comics too. But this book has been phenomenal. It's been so good. It's very, very wordy, as you would expect out of a Tom King book. But it's still good. You just got to be in a sort of a different frame of mind when reading this versus reading, something a little more, something from the big two, let's say. But it's very good so far. I'm through issue 4, I think.
Is this it, or is it done after this, or is it keep going?
I don't know. It's only supposed to be 6 issues. That's what it's like set to be for now.
This collects 1 through 6, so I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be the whole series. I don't know if they plan. Yeah. I don't know if they plan on keeping it going. It's hard to say. Honestly, just the way that it's set up. I mean, Helen and her grandfather go into this like mythical world and take on all these different beasts, which is really cool because Evely draws them really well. But I feel like you could expand on what they do in this like other world that they go to by like a lot. Because just the way that the timing works in this book is, I think this last issue, an entire year passed, and a lot of it is like saying this is what happened very briefly. So they could easily do like spin-off series about what happened in these different places that they went. So I wouldn't be at all surprised, because I think it's being pretty well received if they kept it going.
Awesome.
Yeah, I absolutely adored Women of Tomorrow, Supergirl. So I've been waiting for the trade, and it's a tough wait, but it'll be worth it, especially to read it all in one go, a book like this.
Yeah,
Helen has
it
been
might
so
read
good.
better in one go.
Yeah, I know
mean,
people say that about Tom King quite often. So sometimes I
Yeah.
pick it up monthly, and sometimes I just wait.
Well, but when Human Target was one of the first books that I like had on a pull list and everything, and I loved reading that monthly. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was one I decided to read monthly as well, and I was happy with that. And then many others that I didn't.
Yeah,
But I don't pull a lot of Dark Horse. I don't pull a lot of Dark Horse, but this one. I think what I ended up doing is I just grabbed it off the shelf. I didn't even have it on my pull list, and then I read the first one. I'm like, oh, I got to add this. This is so.
Yeah, it's a creative team I love. Obviously, like the colors, so like I can't discount Matt Lopez for anything. But the one thing of like I've always loved Bill Quisevely's artwork. Like even early on with her stuff that she did with Keith Giffen on Sugar and Spike back at the tail end of New 52.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, she's completely like leveled up since then. Like, I've been a fan of her for almost a decade now, but yeah, I'm really happy that she's getting her paid due in, and we're getting to see all this like come about. Yeah, I might have to pick it up just simply for her art. And
hold on a second. There's a Sugar and Spike written by Keith Giffen.
Yeah,
was it an ongoing series?
It was. How many issues? But it wasn't terribly long.
Yeah. Wow. That's an Omnidog series, like Sugar and Spike, the original Silver Age or Golden Age era, that I've always wanted to read. And I love Keith Giffen, so
you should pick it out.
I need to look that up now.
Helen is pretty good. I have no clue how Tom King is able to write this. Bill Quist's art in this might be even better than Woman of Tomorrow. These fantasy worlds have been so gorgeous, which is something. I mean, that's high praise, because I was just starstruck by the interiors on Woman of Tomorrow. And now it's this. It's like I feel like I have to pick this up at some point.
I'm surprised, since her art has gotten so much praise. Like, why isn't this oversized already?
I know. I wondered that.
Like, it really.
I would love
kind of blows my mind. These publishers sometimes don't do like because like you think like in prose work, like it's always like hardcover first and paperback later. So it's like the premier format first. Like, it blows my mind sometimes when the comic book publishers don't do like the premium format first and then paperback later. And I know this isn't paperback; it's hardcover, but like the library edition first, and then like a standard hardcover or trade paperback later kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I wish this was a library edition from the start. I might as well make it $49.99, and it's only 6 issues. But
yeah,
shoot, man,
I know Tom King's name obviously sells. Like, he's a huge seller in comics. What are the people on the internet think that he's like polarizing? I don't think he is at all. I think it's a small vocal audience on Twitter that hates Tom King. I think the majority of the fact of comic book readers love Tom King's work, and he's a big seller. So I know his name's gonna be the thing that sells it first, but like the artwork is like the showcase here. That's what people are talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it's a good story too. But I mean, like, Tom King has a history at this point of just grabbing phenomenal artists to work with him. Like, I mean, I would definitely not say that his work is carried by these artists. I think a lot of people might say that, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to work with Bill Quisevely, Greg Smallwood,
David Marquez.
Finch.
Mitch Durant.
Yeah, there's
Doxina.
all the smart comic book writers will build good relationships with good artists, and I think he's one of those. You think like Mark Miller, also, like, he is notorious for like paying his artists really well and building good relationships with them. So like, you won't find a Mark Miller comic that has a bad art in it.
Right.
And even classic, like Alan Moore. I always talk about Alan Moore. I think he's the greatest comic book writer ever. But his artists, I think all of his artists that he's worked with, their best work of their career is when they're writing with, or when they're drawing with Alan Moore's comics. I think it's because he gets the most out of his artists. And I think Tom King has an aspect to him about that as well, is where he like works really simpatico with his artist and like gets the best work that he can out of them, which is allowing them the freedom to do what they're best at, the kind of thing, I'm sure. But
and like you said before, you know, Tom King's name sells, right?
Yeah.
The artists want to work with him because they're like, well, this is going to get my art in front of more people.
For sure.
You know? So, yeah. And it's funny you mentioned Alan Moore, because when I wrote a review on when I read the first volume of Swamp Thing, and said that it really should be called Stephen Bissett's Swamp Thing instead of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, which, I mean, obviously he wrote it really well, but the art in that is just like, I mean, it's as close to perfect comic book art as you can get, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't dismiss Tuttlebin and Rick Veitch as well, who worked.
Yeah.
But yes, your point stands. Like the art in Swamp Thing is brilliant.
Yeah, guys. In the fashion of Omnidog, he's gonna buy this, and then the library will come out because he bought this specific hardcover.
Hey, I was a direct benefactor of that process, because he gave me for free his copy of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the paperback, because he just upgraded to the deluxe. So,
what a good guy.
I know he is a great guy.
And Josh's favorite and a couple of other people's most anticipated Volume 4, Trigun Maximum, Deluxe Edition, 688 pages, $49.99. Coming out next year on the 25th of February.
This is also doing the same thing as the Conan Titan format, or the release process, where they were delayed for a number of times, and now they're just pumping them out. Which I think there's going to be one more volume after this, and that'll conclude it. I think there's one volume of Trigun and then 5 volumes of Trigun Maximum. Josh, I know you're in the chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the case.
Are you guys going to pick up? Have you guys picked up Trigun Deluxe yet? Have you three?
I'm still on the fence. I do love these deluxe editions. Good. You said it was good?
They said no. I just said it looks really good. Like,
it does. Yeah.
In my comic shop, I was like, "This is a nice Fox hardcover."
Yeah, I got the Go Tanabe H.P. Lovecraft one. Dark Horse makes really these deluxe manga are just beautiful, like this thing right here. And so the reviews on this sound really cool, and shelf space is always like a thing that I have to commit to. And 6 volumes, like, it's not too much. It's not berserk. It's not 14 volumes, but I don't know. I haven't committed yet, but possibly. It's probably one of those things that if I find like volume 1 for like 50% off, I might pull the trigger, kind of thing.
Yeah, I might have to, man. I mean, this looks. I want to read it. They look good. It's something I have to pick up at some point. But yeah, let's go ahead and go to the trade paperbacks. The first of which is the classic Dark Horse Omnibus edition line, whatever you want to like to call it. Beast of Burden by Evan Dorkin and very acclaimed artist Jill Thompson. 592 pages, $29.99, coming out next year on the 11th of February. And this collects Beast of Burden, Animal Rights, Occupied Territory, Neighborhood Watch, Wise Dogs, and Eldritch Men, all in one.
Yeah, and which I think is the entirety of all Beasts of Burden, right? Beast of Burden. Really, really fun series if you haven't read it. It's Evan Dorkin's a great writer. I typically love when Evan Dorkin's doing the writing and art, because I do like his art, but you can't go wrong with Jill Thompson, especially something that's like a supernatural kind of series like this is. But she didn't do all the art. I think she does the art for the first 2 series, and I think that's when Benjamin Dewey takes over. And there was some like dispute between Dorkin and Thompson for a little bit there, some internet drama, I think, but I think they've since have buried that hatchet and have moved on. But there was a delay in this series. That's when Benjamin Dewey took over. But really a fun series, and this collects everything. So, and I think some of those hardcovers are like way out of print as well.
Yeah, so having it in one is nice. So yeah, got the Eisner Stamper toe, and we got that going on there. Beyond the Pale by Christopher M. Gard and Thomas Ira, $19.99, 120 pages. Same release date next year. Beyond the Pale issues 1 through 4 are collected in here.
Ooh, this is a Vietnam War era comic.
I always
Interesting.
appreciate, I always appreciate like stories that were written specifically from the viewpoint of a time where like you're dropped into
Mhm.
a very heated, sometimes even underlooked era. I can't say besides like some of the Punisher stories I've read that I've read many Vietnam War era comics or stuff that has to deal with that, but that already has me hooked in.
Yeah, same, and I think that's right because I love war comics and I've read a lot, but there aren't a lot of Vietnam War era because the war comics genre really stopped being so popular after like EC Comics kind of faded through the Comics Code Authority in the 50s. War comics after that weren't really that popular. So by the time we got to the Vietnam War, it really wasn't, that big of a deal. But which is interesting because you think that some of these writers and artists that wrote like anti-war comics or rhetoric or whatever would have been like perfect for the Vietnam War. But not a lot of comics take place in that era. You're right.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, it was definitely one of the most interesting culturally here, both in the States and also very much abroad. I feel like we haven't gotten enough in that. Like we've had a lot of World War II stories.
Plenty.
But yeah, not enough for Vietnam, which is
off the top of my head. The only ones I can think of are like the Garth Ennis Punisher that you mentioned. Obviously, Watchmen has some Vietnam War stuff in it. I don't know. Let us know in the chat, in the comments, what Vietnam War comics exist. I want to know.
I'm trying to think.
Go ahead.
When Deathstroke was Slade Wilson was in, what war did he fight in?
Oh, I don't know. What run is that?
Well, I'm thinking in New Teen Titans, I believe.
Oh
yeah, that's right, because his dad served in Vietnam.
I'm gonna look and see.
There's that omnibus coming out of Deathstroke, like that Marv Wolfman run, like where he got his own his first ongoing series, which I've not read that run, so I'm kind of excited about that, but I don't know if that takes place in there.
Yeah. I'm also thinking that. Okay.
Yeah, no, the other thing I was gonna say was like I don't remember any. Like I've read most Deathstroke appearances. I can't name you a single time where it's like, oh, like he fought in Vietnam. I don't believe he fought in Vietnam.
Man, this is gonna like dominate my thoughts for the rest of the day. Like, what Vietnam comics exist? That's like, I feel like it's such a
Korean War.
The Korean War. Okay.
Yeah, another completely unforgotten tale too. One that almost.
Oh, but then it says, and I'm just looking at Wikipedia. So, the war in Vietnam began to escalate, and Slade was shipped overseas. And so that's like, I don't think that it happened in a comic per se, other than maybe like briefly as like a this is his origin type thing. I have to look and see which one it is exactly. But
Garth Ennis has written a lot of war comics too that I haven't read. Like he has those anthology books, which I haven't read a lot of those. I wonder if he does any Vietnam stuff in there.
So yeah, if you guys have any recommendations, if you're watching this live, if you're watching after, please let us know. Anything that isn't written by Garth Ennis, I guess, to get on there. Cat and Gamer Volume 7. This is 160 pages, $11.99. Another one of those Titan mangas. Go out next year on the 25th of February.
I've never heard of this before now, but it looks fun.
It does look fun. It does look
adorable.
Yeah, apparently, was nominated for a Harvey Award for 2 straight years. So good on them. Hopefully, they win it all third time through. And from the pen of Stan and Julie Sakai, Chibi Usagi: Attack of the Hibi Chibis, expanded edition, coming out next year.
Adorable.
That is, an even more adorable comic, if that is even possible. So this collects Everything Chibi with the Usagi Yojimbo verse, 184 pages for $19.99.
I had to pick this up for my son and I to read. I tried reading Usagi with him. We got through like almost the first volume of the Fantagraphics slipcase, and he wasn't into the even though it's very cartoony violence, he wasn't into the violence part. So, but this one probably has less violence, so maybe.
Perhaps. Yeah, this looks cute, man. I mean, both of these look incredibly cute and adorable. Maybe I should pick it up for the wholesomeness. Another one from a show that I have grown to love, Legend of Korra: The Mystery of Penguin Island by Kiku Hughes and Diana Sousa. $12.99, 80 pages, and this is coming out next year on the 25th of February.
I watched the original Avatar: The Last Airbender show for the first time earlier in the year and really enjoyed it. So I want to dive into some of the comics at some point and into Korra as well. So I haven't seen Korra either.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Last Airbender have gotten library editions. Has Legend of Korra got library editions yet?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But yeah, like these have done really well for comic shops. I know that specifically for mine, Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra usually end up with like our top 100 graphic novel sales like every single year. I mean that's pretty awesome for them to put these out and do, because obviously the stories that they told in both of those shows, I mean they're done extremely well. They're really popular with people like me, and everyone else who's watched those. Same with Joe. So I appreciate these being put out by Dark Horse. Kudos to them. Next up, we got Ruthless Render, Volume 2 by D.D. Mark, 208 pages, $12.99. Another. This is a webtoon series. This is not a manga, but this is a webtoon now available in print.
I was gonna say the cover, trade dress on the cover looks very manga-like. So that's what they're definitely going for, that look. And the trim size, right? The trim size is like Tankobon.
Oh yeah, it is a Tankobon specific format. Next up, we got Simulation Theory by Kurt Pyers and Daryl Nickram. 152 pages, $22.99, coming out next year on the 4th of February. This is a original graphic novel.
This one looked really cool. Apparently, I looked it up. Apparently, it's like one of those Comixology series that Dark Horse is collecting. So I was looking through these lists the other day, and I was glad I did, because I wouldn't have found out about this otherwise.
I wouldn't have either. There you go. Yeah, I do love that. I love the colors on the cover. Anytime you like toss pink and purple in there, I mean, you already got me hooked in.
Looks cool.
Indeed it is. For all the Star Wars fans that... Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to add that it's one of those interesting things when some just like casually writing my own sort of prose story or on the side just now and again. And it was one of those things where you read a story, like synopsis, that sounds somewhat similar to something that you're working on. Not the plot is different, but like the idea of like the technology as it's described in that synopsis sounded familiar to what I was thinking of. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
No, it does. It definitely does. I mean, just even thinking about like, the moving from your regular brain here to whatever digital scape that you want to go to sounds fun enough for me to check it out. I might have to, because the premise does sound cool.
Well, because it was I've really enjoyed things like The Matrix and Ready Player One. So to see someone else sort of building on those sorts of ideas, it's not just me and my unfinished prose project I'm doing for fun.
Yeah, gear me up for this.
Sounds kind of terrifying. Right? Imagine the lack of control you might lose in the digital universe, and then trying to get back in things. Like, obviously those could be things you could explore with the issues and problems that could go along with this, but Just that idea of losing control of your mind and things.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Next up, we got Star Wars Hyperspace Stories Qui-Gon by George Mann and Andrea Moody. This is just a collection of, not a collection, sorry. This is just one of the next parts of their original graphic novel line of Star Wars for people who might want to be introduced to these characters.
Nice.
Although, yeah, I don't know much about Qui-Gon besides what I've seen of him in episode 1, where he dies.
Yeah.
Maybe this will teach you more. Maybe this is explores more.
I know he has a
backstory.
He has a particular set of skills. I know that.
He looks like he's Liam Neeson.
Oh. that went over my head at first.
Sort of a funny on the side thing. I introduced my kids to Star Wars for the first time this weekend. Like, they know what it is. Obviously, you can't go through life without knowing.
Right.
But they watched the
order
movies.
What order did he go in?
New Hope, and then we watched Empire Strikes Back.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, because I mean, they were gonna. I mean, you don't want to have the greatest plot twist in movie history spoiled. I mean,
I will say, I started with my son when he was like 3 or 4, and I did start with episode 1, but then he didn't watch them for like 4 or 5 years, so he totally forgot him by that point.
Yeah.
And then when I reintroduced him to him, I started with A New Hope, and I think the payoff was way greater.
Yeah. I don't
Oh, for sure.
I didn't. They didn't really react much to the reveal. But
yeah, my son didn't either. It's kind of disappointing. You're kind of expecting that, like, come on, wait, you're waiting for it. You're like,
yeah, but they
Like,
loved
isn't
it though.
it crazy?
Like my 4-year-old he has like a Ninja Turtle sword that he plays with, but he was standing there waving it around like a lightsaber. Like anytime there was a lightsaber fight on, he was just like he was all for it. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
yeah, it was great.
That is so cool. I'm happy for you guys and your family.
Thanks. It's a big moment.
It is a very big moment. Next up, we got Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Land of the Giants by Paul Tobin and Heather Breckel. 72 pages, 1999.
Wow.
Yes, that was Rachel Gould on the cover. February 25th next year, collecting this 3-issue series. And then last but not least, we have a Matt Kint illustrated, Cullen Bunn written book coming out next year on the 4th of February, $24.99, 184 pages. This is The Tooth, a novel-length adventure by that specific creative team.
This is a classic comic. This came out like years ago. Yeah, because it was originally released in a hardcover, but it must have been like over 10 years ago. I think the first version came out.
Oh.
Interesting.
It was early on in Kent and Bunn's career. But still worth reading. I mean, you just look at the true love letter to old school pulp horror, classic comic books. Even look at the trade dress on there, on the cover.
Yeah,
like
that's
a classic
cool.
comic, and they even have like the fake price tag on there and things.
Nice.
Yeah, interesting. That is cool. I like, the face, the fake price tag and all of this, but that does wrap it up for Dark Horse. And this is also the time in the stream where we get to mention one of our sponsors, Walt's Comic Shop in Europe, where they are based in Berlin, Germany. And for all of the EU people, that is where you can get your comic books at Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and collected editions in Europe. Ding. Oh gosh. I
feel like
memorized that.
Now, is
you
it
need, like, a
ting or
triangle
ding?
for the ding? Like a actual like the instrument triangle.
Oh, they got a triangle out for the spot. I have no idea what it is, though, Joe. I don't know if it's ting or ding. I'm like
the important questions.
I'm surprised Melanie hasn't got a triangle for that.
Oh, that's cute. Although
That'd be great on Saturday. Put it right in Omar's face. He'd love it.
I will say though. Oh, it's ting. Okay. No, why can it be? No, it's my own thing now, Josh. We're taking over the channel, so it's whatever I say it is.
I feel vindicated.
Let's go, Joe. But I didn't find out.
I'm not petty, I promise.
I will say, I did find out that the lowest salary for the Philharmonic Orchestra in New York is $150,000 a year on the lowest the lowest member of the orchestra, which is the people who play the triangle. So if you're playing the triangle for the orchestra in New York, you are pretty set.
Yeah.
I also imagine, I wonder what the job security is with that, like, because you have to hit your spot exactly. So if you like mess it up on one performance, are you gone?
Well, is anyone noticing?
It'd be like way more obvious though if the triangle guy messed up than if like the celloist like screwed up one note in one song.
Right.
The triangle has like, you had one job, you know.
It's like the director of the orchestra goes, "You did not play it at the right time. You were 1/10 second off. You're fired." But yeah. So if Omar, we don't care. Melody is beloved. Okay, that's completely fair. 100%, 100%. But yeah, let's go ahead and head over now to Boom Studios for their December collected editions, or December 2024 previews. And first, we got Jim Henson's Labyrinth Archive Edition hardcover. This is a dark dream come true where nothing is as it seems for $19.99, and this facsimile release is presented in hardcover as part of Boom Studios' Archive Collection line.
That's news to me. Boom Studios have edition line. Is this like the first release of that? And I want to know what more books they have in store for that. But I love the idea of this release. I'm a big Jim Henson fan, so this looks to be like a premium edition of that comic book adaptation.
Right. I want to say that they have they have like Power Rangers archives. I think those are the thing from Boom.
Yeah, those the 90s versions that they came out with. Which those are fun. Like there's some Steve Ditko art in those early Power Rangers comics, which is wild. The Steve Ditko in the 90s was drawing Power Rangers and WWF comic books, which is mind blowing to me.
That is very mind blowing, actually. But I mean, it is cool that they are pushing this out in like the same facsimile thing. So you're having that like reading experience as if you were like actually there, when this came out. Which Marvel, I mean, they're doing the Marvel Masterpieces line, are starting it soon, right? Where it's in that library format, but you get every single one of the ads. You get that enhanced experience. Like, I'm being pushed in there. So it's cool that they're putting out stuff like that.
I'm all about that kind of ephemera of the ads and everything, letters, pages, and things. That's why I love the Marvel Taschen editions. I have every volume of those as well.
Oh, for sure. And that is it. And what we do have for Labyrinth and the hardcovers. Next up, we got the trade paperbacks, the first of which is Crocodile Black by future Batman and Robin writer Philip Kennedy Johnson and Som on art, collecting the entirety of this 5-issue series. And I thought this was Wolverine at first, like from the back, and then I
a little bit, yeah.
I love the tag.
This has been.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the tagline there sounds like a movie trailer, like "Walk a mile in a dead man's shoes, and you'll never come back."
Yeah,
this summer.
Yeah, no, this summer. Now this has been really good. I've been following this. It's pretty horrifying. So, Taylor, if you want to talk about this in your horror your horror month this month, it's
Have all 5 issues been released?
The last issue should be coming up this month, I think.
I might have to check that out.
Double check that. It's really well done. Som is his full name is Somnath Pal, but his art he really excels whenever it's like the sort of grotesque looking stuff.
Ooh, nice.
And so this has a lot to do with this guy. Danny is sort of, he gets off the medication that he needs for whatever it is that he has going on. and start seeing things, right? And so it's it's wild. It's it gets pretty crazy. So
Nice.
That is insane.
really, really well done. And I'm a big Philip Kennedy Johnson fan since I read War World. So this is a great one so far.
Awesome.
Let me see.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm actually kind of ashamed now. Because Philip Kennedy Johnson's family reached out to me to get me to interview him. Which I had the cool opportunity to do a couple of weeks back, and I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't get to ask him about this. But I guess we were so wrapped up in the DC talk for the future book and giving me like exclusive whatever. It was just like. But I got to check this out. And like the description, what you're talking about specifically, and also like, it's spooky month. I do want to get a bit terrified. I feel like with that.
So issue 5 comes out October 9th, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice.
So soon.
Yeah.
You can still add
so it's funny you say that, Dom, because I got to meet Philip Kennedy Johnson at Baltimore Comic-Con. And I didn't do like an interview with him or anything. I just kind of met him, and he signed my copy of Incredible Hulk #1. But I was talking to him about Batman and Robin, and he said, I'm going to pretend that this is the only Batman story I'm going to write for my whole career. Yeah, and it's just, I think it's cool because it's just like, he's going to go all out for it. So after he said that, I added it to my pull list. I was on the fence, but now I'm just like, yeah.
I know it's on mine too. It's on mine too, but yeah, I have to add this to my pull list as well for whenever it comes out. It seems horrifying. Also, Cliff on Comics, hello, good to see you here and hang out with us for the duration of this live stream. Much appreciated. Next up, we got I think they got the title wrong on this one they sent, but this is Lawful Volume 1. I don't know why.
It looks like just the image is wrong, because the description and everything is the same for Labyrinth.
Yeah, I think they must have sent, they sent the wrong one over to us. But this does collect the Greg Pak and Diego Galindo Lawful series, and this is Volume 1. So
we don't know what issues that collects, because I thought this was going to be like 8 issues, but they're not even. I mean, I don't even know if number 4 is out.
Don't believe so. Let me see.
It does say Volume 1, so they could be doing like 1 through 4 for the first one. Maybe.
Yeah, 1 through 4 for the first, and then 5 through 8 for the second.
Okay, yeah. This has been good too. I was surprised by this one. I didn't. I mean, just the original description, which if we don't have one, I can pull one up for just issue 1. But so. Magical meets modern in a walled city with strangely familiar architecture. 2 small children get with a sense of adventure. Okay, but so, so because every mistake one makes in this world will cause them to transform into a monster bit by bit, and in the eyes of society, there's no distinction between the rules and what's right. So basically, every time you do something wrong, you grow, a claw on your hand, you grow scales on your body, and so people can literally see when you do things wrong, right? And then there's all this kind of corruption that goes on behind it. But it's really cool. It's a really cool story. And it definitely has me, itching to get the next issue. So I think this will be definitely worth people checking out.
I like that premise.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think this was one I was intrigued by when it first started, but I hadn't heard much about it until Dan's review, so it definitely sounds cool. Lots of creators that I'm unfamiliar with as well, which is always fun.
Right.
Apart from Greg Pak, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Pak's somebody that like I don't know why I constantly sleep on his work. Everything I've read from him is good, and then for whatever reason it's just not something I think to check out, and then I do check it out, and it's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, because as I said that, I was like, actually, I haven't read much Greg Pak work, even though I've obviously heard of him.
Yeah.
So many writers to dive into that I haven't yet.
Right.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Sure. So Lawful Volume 1. Again, the solicitation that they gave us was off, but it is collecting issues 1 through 4. Jonesy, complete collection by Sam Humphries. I've been wondering where that guy's been because I loved his most recent DC stuff like Dial H for Hero. I enjoyed the Harley Quinn run that he wrote and haven't seen him really much since. He was a host on the DC one of the DC TV shows. And then I haven't heard from him since, but he is doing this with Caitlin Rose Boyle. And this is a iconic YA high school rom-com. So this might be an older series, but this is collecting issues 1 through 12 of Jonesy.
It definitely looks like a fun high school melodrama book. Laugh out loud high school comedy with sick zines, cute ferrets, and donuts to die for. Sounds like but it does say their commemorative 20 for 20 program. Is that Boom Studios' 20th anniversary?
Has it been 20 years for Boom?
I don't know. I'm assuming that's what 20 for 20 means. Maybe it's 20. What other things they could be celebrating?
Oh, it is their 20th anniversary for this year.
Oh, nice.
So
it looks like they're reprinting some of their stuff over the years, maybe in different formats.
Good name.
I assume so. I wish they gave the trim size as far as the solicitations, but it is what it is.
Perfect for fans of Adventure Time and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I think that might be good enough for me to buy.
Yeah. I like some good high school melodrama once in
every once in a while.
Yeah.
I love rom-coms. Rom-coms are fun. Oh, there we go. Here's the actual lawful.
Oh.
So they must have, so $16.99 for the book, issues 1 through 4. There you go. All right, next up.
Dan did a better job selling it than the solicit would, so
Nice.
Much indeed. Next up, we got MMPR, The Eltarian War by Ryan Parrott and Francesco Mortarino and Marco Renna, $19.99. This is collected in one single volume instead of the flip-flop back and forth trade paperbacks that they've been doing for Power Rangers when they were doing the crossovers and when they sort of had their like uncanny and then adjectiveless line of, if you want to call it that, of MMPR. Collecting issues 13 through 16 of both that's actually a pretty good deal. Like 8. What is that? Yeah, eight issues for $19.99.
So,
that's not too bad.
Are you keeping up with Power Rangers comics?
I am woefully behind because I'm
Okay.
still waiting on a couple of those deluxes to come out.
Well, so they got to like issue number 100, right? And then they renumbered them.
Yeah, they
got to 121.
Okay. Do they when they renumbered it? Is it a new storyline or is it continuing?
Oh, it's new. Yeah,
it's
Ryan,
new.
It's new, but Ryan Parrott's still writing it.
So Melissa Flores has been writing it for the last for a while. I've only been reading since the Darkest Hour storyline started, which was, from what my understanding, was a bad point to pick up at because I had no idea what was happening. So I didn't love it, but I could kind of tell that it was kind of on me. But is Ryan Parrott starting the new? Because this is older. This is from a few years.
Oh
ago.
yeah, no, this is like 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're just rebranding this specific.
Recent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but they did restart it, and now it's called it's like Power Rangers Prime, I think, is the current series. Is the one that's coming up. But so they
with Dan Moore on covers.
Yeah, that's the thing with it. I like Dan Moore on covers, but then when he's not on the interiors of those covers, it just lessens a little bit for me.
It happens.
Yeah.
But we do have that there. And Taylor, it does seem like you got a fan in the chat. It says, hello, pause Beekeeper to be here. And then they dropped off.
Thanks, Low Hit. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we got Ronin Island, the complete collection. Another Greg pack. And this time, Milano Giannis on the art. $19.99. Another 20 for 20. issue program for their 20th anniversary, collecting the entire series, issues 1 through 12 of Ronin Island.
This looks awesome. I've not read this before though.
It's very Avatar-like. Yeah, nothing there. And that is it from Boom. And I have no idea what the tingle is, jingle, whatever it is for BD Cosmos, but we would like to thank our sponsors in Canada, BD Cosmos, where you can, of course, if you are living in Canada, go ahead and pick up your comics there. I know that Melanie does the A. I'm not going to attempt to do the A because it feels weird, but yeah, I don't know how. I need to get better at advertisements. That was me pulling on Amanda. Right there. Quickly though, panels with Pete. Hello. Good to see you. Giannis was dope on Prophet. Haven't read that series nor heard much buzz about it.
Oh, was that the Prophet Brandon Graham series?
I believe so.
Yeah, they had a combination of a bunch of different artists on there. I didn't recognize that name, but that sounds familiar now.
It does.
That needs a deluxe hardcover. Like 5 years ago, it should have come out.
I completely agree. And last but not least, we got our Image December 2024 Solicitations. And the first one is Strange Girl hardcover, 20th anniversary edition, of which I do have a comparison to talk about. This is $59.99 by the standard Remender library sized edition hardcovers coming out this year on the 18th of December. Now, I do have the this is the regular deluxe hardcover that they came out. It is bigger than your average size comic. I guess this is the comparison. So this is how big it is between both, I guess, the regular size and the deluxe. Now, this edition, when compared to the Remender library size,
Oh,
yeah, there is a difference between these two. One is very much considerably bigger.
so this new printing will be Remender.
Yeah, the new
size?
printing will be the library Remender size, which is actually why I actually want to give a quick shout out to my friend Rad for getting me this a couple years ago during the pandemic. But yeah, it is much bigger, and I will definitely be upgrading to that deluxe. This is I've read almost every single Remender series, or almost finished them. I should say there are a couple that, like, I still haven't gotten to the ending of Deadly Class yet. But I have read all of his indies because all of them are now out and oversized. So, yeah, this is a much bigger for me
so far. But now he's been pumping out a bunch of new series lately. Like it seems like over the last few months, like a bunch of new. What's his imprint called? Giant Generator.
Yeah.
Which he's now opened up to allowing other people to write stories for Giant Generator as well. So
there you go. I wish I was Melanie, but I know, Joe, you are reading like one or two of his brand new line, right?
Yeah, I know when I think the second volume of The Sacrifices was on there a couple of months ago, I said how much I was loving it, and I think that second arc just recently wrapped up, and it is genuinely incredible. It is the only one I'm reading, but I'm looking forward to getting around to some of the others as they come out. Like you, Dom, I haven't finished Deadly Class yet, but I got the first two hardcovers, and I need to get the final two, but yeah.
Dan, have you read any of Rick Remender's indie stuff?
Not any of his indie stuff. I read he had a Venom run. I read part of that. He came out, or is currently coming out, with a series called Grommets.
Yeah, it's one of the new ones.
Yeah, it's one of the new ones.
It's like a skateboarding one, which I had thought about grabbing, but my pull list got too filled.
Too big.
Yeah.
No, I love Black Science is amazing.
Yes, me too.
Fear Agent's
that's such a
amazing.
Cool comic.
Deadly Class, I have all 4 hardcovers, but there was I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a twist in, I think, the end of volume 1 or 2 that really irked me. Maybe in a good way. Maybe it was well written so much that it irked me as a fan. I was so invested that I haven't been able to pick it back up. So I will
Alright.
though. I have them all. I just need to get over myself and finish it. But
Yeah, I mean I think that's typically what I expect from there is something that will pierce you in whatever way possible. I think with every single Remender comic I read, like it happened for me with Low. It happened for me in volume 2 of Deadly Class.
maybe that's
I'm still in the middle of volume 3. Maybe because I'm going to vacation to Florida in a couple days. Maybe I'll bring one of these volumes over with me and hope it doesn't get destroyed on the airplane.
I know I Righteous Fast for Vengeance was from a year or two now. That was a really cool book. One of my favorites from him.
Black Science and Fear Agent, though, are my favorite from him for sure.
Yeah, this one this was Jack can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is I believe his first published indie. A Strange Girl is anyways, and it follows
Nice.
it follows a wild ride where this girl doesn't like the rapture's happening and she doesn't get taken up even though she thinks that she does. So she goes along on this wild escapade with this demon creature who they become like best friends and all that, and they have to go through like the weirdest and wildest different types of creatures, different adventures, and yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans that happen along the way. I love it's so chaotic. But I personally dug it. So I definitely am going to get this picked up because it was it's wild in every single way that I wanted it to be. But yeah, I think I've only read Remender's independent work, Black Science, Deadly Class, Fear Agent, all dope. And if your goal is to drive people away from the channel, then Omar should hire me. But yeah, next up we do have Spawn Origins. This is the standard size Spawn hardcovers that are coming out from Mr. McFarlane himself, $39.99, coming out this year on the 18th of December, collecting issues 177 through 188.
I really need to read some Spawn. I've just one I haven't gotten around to. There's so much of it out there, so many different types of Spawn books.
I remember a few years ago, I read some of the post issue 300 stuff when it was coming out.
Yeah.
But then more recently, I read the first compendium a few months ago, and it was good fun for what it is.
Interesting. Oh, apparently I was wrong, Josh. It's a book called Last Christmas, which I also had the opportunity to get. It's not an oversized, but yeah, that was his first indie. I don't think anyone.
I know. To be part of me did think that when Dan said it, but
yeah, that was my thought too. But I'm also just like, hey, you know what? There are a lot of Spawn fans. I'm not gonna say no to people buying more comics, so we'll keep it there. Next up, we got trade paperbacks, the first of which is a Scotty Young Jorge Corona production, Ain't No Grave, which also has a direct market cover. Image has been pumping out a lot of these direct market covers for both their hardcovers and their trade paperbacks, which is pretty interesting to see. $16.99 coming out this year on the 4th of December. Ain't No Grave 1 through 5 is collected in here.
Is that Jorge Corona on both covers?
No, I think the one on the right is
I don't think,
Scotty Young, I think.
Yeah, that's Scotty.
Okay.
Really?
I was gonna say the styles look completely different, but it also doesn't look like traditional Scotty Young either. Which he doesn't. I mean, he has a history of doing other stuff versus his baby chibi kind of art that he does. He's a great artist besides that. But it's just interesting to see him now in 2024 drawing not in that style.
Yeah. I haven't read this yet, but I'm very excited too, because as it mentions in the solicit, I adored Middle West and The Me You Love in the Dark. So after those books, I'm definitely down for anything they do separately or together.
No, for sure.
Unforgiven style journey, a macabre Western fantasy tale. I'm told through a Guillermo del Toro-esque lens. That sells me right away. I was just talking on I was on Omnidog's Vault the other night, and we are just talking about how there's not a lot of Western comics anymore these days. And then mixing Western with horror is such a natural thing too.
Yeah, I remember when this was announced, like first announced, it was pretty intriguing because the whole idea of a fantasy combined with Western is not. I mean, you don't see that every day. So
Right.
definitely look into this one.
I think Scotty Young is a much stronger writer than he is artist, and that's no like shade to him like as an artist, because he does captivate people with the chibi, the cuteness that his style brings with a lot of his Marvel covers and all of those covers as well. But I've been blown away by stuff like Twig, Middle West. Where I'm just like, man, like he is really good at writing. So this already has me set.
Yeah, I forgot about Twig.
Yeah, Twig is
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a great one.
But
I mean, even just like the first issue of Middle West just blew me away, and then it just gets better from there, in my opinion.
yeah, no, for sure. Next up, we got One Hand in the Six Fingers trade paperback by Ram V and Dan Waters. Lawrence Campbell, Sumit Kumar, and Lee Loveridge on color specifically. 1999, collecting the One Hand 1 through 5 and the Six Fingers 1 through 5. This looks
The rare time in comics when Six Fingers is not an accident.
Oof.
Taylor, why?
You know, there's just all those covers and things that people find like, oh, there's an extra finger on that guy's hand. It's screwed up there.
Nowadays, if there's an extra finger, it's AI.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Now it's a whole
Which,
other
I mean,
controversy.
Yeah. So
Indeed.
I haven't read this, but I like the idea that they were publishing these two series kind of hand in hand.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on purpose.
Well,
I didn't do that
I
on
was so
purpose.
glad that they're collecting it like all together in one.
Yeah.
No, that is really cool. I mean, that's freaking sick. That's 10 issues, and for that price, I mean, I'll
Yeah.
take that all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's two of the hottest writers in comics. You guys in Nightwing. Also, two people who've been working with each other and known each other for a very long time. So yeah, very very excited for this book as well.
Well, so I know they also wrote that Creature from the Black Lagoon comic, which
It is,
I
yeah.
heard good things about. So
You are correct. Next up, we got Spawn: The Dark Ages, the complete collection trade paperback for $49.99, I should say, collecting the entirety of Spawn: The Dark Ages, collected in a. So it says oversized format, but we don't have the trim size, so I have no idea if they mean oversized in the fact that it's a thickie, or
I'd
oversized that
imagine.
it's trim size. I mean, I'm assuming thickie, but
Yeah, because the term oversized, when you talk about like single issues, always typically means just more pages.
right.
So it could
That's
be
true.
a conflation of that terminology. But this is this like the 90s era Dark Ages, or is this a newer story? Does anyone know?
Don't. Let me see.
Because I know Liam Sharp did some stuff for Dark Ages in the past, but I know he's also now working
He's
on
also
a new.
doing something. Yeah, he's also doing something with. I've seen when he was last at our comic shop, I was able to see some of the preview pages that or whatever they did that are all like colored, rendered, fleshed out. But that's like all brand new stuff that's supposed to be released in the future. Yeah, this is late.
can't wait.
Yeah, it looks like late 90s, early 2000, early
Okay.
2000s material.
Yeah, that new series by Liam Sharp looks like just the preview images that have come out. It looks amazing, and I have to think maybe you know this because he's in your shop, but he also like pitched that Conan story
He did.
for Titan
Yeah.
Comics that got for whatever reason got shelved. I have no idea who in the world is going to deny Liam Sharp doing a Conan story, especially with the way the art looked. But I almost feel like he's
Yeah.
now repurposed that story and art for this Spawn thing, which I'm not mad about because I want to see the story get released.
Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I don't know how you say no to him either. I mean, phenomenal art. I don't care what anyone says. And yeah, speaking of Western horror, we do need some new Jonah Hex collected editions. Hey, maybe they'll do that on a DC Finest panels with Pete. I would love to see some of those stories collected.
I agree.
And yeah, last but not least is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. This is the regular cover by Andy Kubert. Or no, sorry. This is the direct, image. Why are you so weird? Direct market cover by Andy Kubert. Regular book market by Danny Earls. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up. But this is collecting issues 306 to 310 as part of the Skybound, whatever you would like to call it, set.
Right. This is the continuation of Larry Hama's G.I. Joe run that started with Marvel back in the day and lasted for 150 some issues. And then he took it on over. IDW continued it on from whatever issue that was all the way to 300. And now with the third publisher, it's continuing on through Skybound. So this is different than the Kirkman Void Rivals continuity. This is just like the Marvel IDW continuity, the Larry Hama years, basically, because Larry Hama wrote every single one of those issues, which is amazing. It should be celebrated more. But and it's awesome that Kirkman has him continuing on this series. So if you're one of the people that back the Kickstarters or getting the compendiums, those are for the first 150 odd issues. I think it's 154 maybe. Whatever Marvel stopped is what that first is. I'm assuming they'll do a Kickstarter for the last all the way to issue 300. And then this series is volume 2, and then volume 1 came out or will have come out already. The trade paperbacks continue on from that. Yeah,
sure.
Real American Hero.
Real American Hero. So, yeah, this is volume 2 for the set. If you all are interested in picking any of these up, Paul Pelletier he's apparently also going Ghost Machine exclusive.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, perhaps this might be the last time we get to see him on a Skybound or anything Image property related. So, does go for the same there. But I believe that does go for it for this round of solicitations, or at least what people may pre-order for this December 2024 pre-order period. Of course, if you want the documentation for all of this, you guys can go ahead and head over to comicreleases.com, where we do have the solicitations for not only these specific companies that we covered, but also Marvel and DC. And yes, we're still working and trying to get PR emails from. We just got this distillery not too long ago, so hopefully we can add them to our list as well. And we are still in attempts to reach out to friends from guys like Oni Press, Fantagraphics, etc. And we will keep you all in there today. Mr. James, thank you so much for the link there. Real quick, guys, what one book specifically from these round of solicits are you most excited for? Joe, we will start with you and work our way down.
Getting on the spot, maybe Helen of Binhorn. Off the top of my head, that's the first one that came to mind. So you can't beat that combination, that creative team.
For sure. Dan, what about you?
I'm gonna pick the Nova and Night Thrasher omnibus. No, I'm gonna say it every month.
Watch your back, Dom. I think Dan might be on Omar's team here.
He's gonna be the one to prevent the coup. Go ahead. Sorry.
So if I have to choose one, it's probably Crocodile Black. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. Helen of Windhorn would be up there, but I'm already getting the single issue, so I don't think I'm gonna grab that.
Right.
But if we're talking to anybody watching, Helen of Windhorn, if you haven't been pulling it, get the trade. I mean, it's beautiful. But otherwise, yeah, Crocodile Black's been awesome. So,
Taylor, how about you?
For me, it's Din. I'm excited about this Richard Corbin library. He's one of those great artists that I've never had his. I love whenever artists have their whole line collected in a nice library, so you can see from beginning to end of their career and things. And Richard Corbin's one of those artists that deserves that treatment for sure. So that's the one I'm gonna pick.
Okay, good stuff. Let me know what you guys in the chat are excited for. We got Josh here saying Spawn Dark Ages, not knowing not knowing about it. I think for me, yeah, probably Strange Girl, getting that in the Remender size, because I would like matching spines, but it's also one of my favorite stuff that he's written. Not that there's a small slew of stuff to pick from, but that is my most anticipated one. All right, gentlemen. Joe, let's start off with you. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so on Instagram at Joe Loves Comics with my comic reviews and lots of fun stuff like that. On Twitter at Joe Talks Comics, and on listening platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts with new episodes almost every Wednesday. Thank you. And I meant to do this at the beginning, but then I got flustered with all the technical issues. But I have been wearing my new one-of-a-kind Joe Talks Comics t-shirt. That
Nice.
I got made, just printed just for me, along with some business cards. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's all
That's
awesome,
pretty
dude.
cool.
Happy for you.
I know. So I got a comic convention here in England in a couple of months, so it's going to be a fun time wearing the t-shirt, trying to hand out business cards, and looking forward to it.
Let's go. Joe, go
I know.
big. I love it. I love it.
New microphone as well, so trying to
It sounds great.
make it even more of an effort.
That sounds
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, so I know I've had it on the podcast for a couple of weeks now, but this is my first stream of this with it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good stuff for my friend Joe. My friend Dan, where can people find you, my friend?
Mostly at Comics with Dan on YouTube. I have a whole bunch of Baltimore Comic Con videos that I just put out. So make sure you go check those out. It was an awesome time. Also on, Twitter, Instagram, that sort of thing. Same thing, Comics with Dan. And then obviously over on the League of Comic Geeks, along with Joe and Dom. So yeah, I'm excited to have come back a second time. But it was it was a blast talking with you guys about the books coming out.
Of course. Yeah,
thank you for having
absolutely,
me.
my friend. Absolutely. Taylor, my coworker. Where can people find you?
Yes. Taylor Talks Comics on YouTube, and everybody please go subscribe. I have big plans for October, 31 days of horror comics. So every day there'll be at least one video on a horror comics topic or a horror comic. And I encourage people just to, they're all the ones that are just the books are gonna be like less than 10 minutes. It'll be short little videos. Even if you don't recognize the book in the thumbnail, click on it, see if it's a book that interests you, and let me know your thoughts.
There you go. So there is Taylor's YouTube and the Discordio all in there. Thank you, Mr. James. And also, real quick, to answer the question posed by the Green Laser, when is the new volume of Savage Sword of Conan Omnibus due out? I have a date set for the 3rd of December. Obviously, dates are tentative, and and can change, and have also willingly changed for the last 3 months of these being out. But that is what we do have specifically for that there. But I am, of course, Dom of X, the assistant editor of comicreleases.com. And also, my own YouTube channel where we are growing at a rapid rate, and also a brand new monthly show for all of the DC finest and everything else. Of course, man, of course. You can obviously find all of the stuff at Comic Releases. So, Green Laser, if you are here, we do have our own very collected editions page where it is constantly up to the date on specific hardcovers and big, thick, weird collected editions that are all coming out. And to help us out with the server and maintenance specifically for the site, we do have a Patreon to cover those server costs. And also you get your own watch list for just $2 Peasley a month. We also have a Discord where I do talk in there, and I do talk about all the updates, and you can hang out with me there. You can also check out Near Mint Conditions Patreon. We do have a Patreon page specifically for people who are not only looking to help the channel, $1 and up. You guys can also find the documentation in this as well. And yes, we are. I'm hoping that this is our panel for the foreseeable future. We are still going to attempt to reach out to Bunkmaster B to steal him from work so he can hang out with us here in the morning. But I am Dom, signing off along with the rest of the folks. We hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Dominate it, and you be you, and take care, and all of the things. Stay fresh, Minties. Have a good one.